Good morning. Welcome to the Women in Leadership Body, Mind, Soul, and Business podcast. I'm Charlie.
And I'm Heather. Together, we are working to connect women in leadership and business to build relationships and empower each other, improving the health and wellness of our community, body, mind, and soul, sharing the heart and soul of who we are and what we do.
Right? Oh, we love getting to the heart of people's passion projects and their why. And I can't wait for you to meet Rocket City HR Consulting owner, CEO. She is a Rocket City HR Consulting is a woman and veteran-owned full-service human resources consulting company comprised of highly experienced, nationally certified HR professionals. They develop and implement HR solutions that support the full employee life cycle, and they support their clients in meeting their goals through their most valuable resource, their people. So, Samantha Brinkley from Rocket City HR Consulting. We're so lucky to have you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So we met Samantha on, I think it was LinkedIn. And we got connected, and Heather and Samantha have talked previously. I myself have met Samantha just a few minutes ago, but I've read through her things, and I was just super
We might have
intrigued.
Facebook stalked you.
Right, a little behind the scenes kind of thing going there. Basically, we want to know about your story and your why, and what brought you to human resources. Why is that your passion project? Why is that at the heart of what you do?
It's funny that you say that, and us talking about the military a little bit before starting this, because I didn't really want to go into HR personnel. That wasn't my dream when I was in college. I had a degree in psychology, and I went in the Air Force, and they said, you're going to do personnel. And I was a little disappointed. I wanted intel or something fun and glamorous or exciting. And it actually took a while. And by the time I got out of the military, I realized they had made the right call. I really love HR because it's the intersection of people and business. And so being a part of a group of people that helps an organization run and that can take care of their people is very important. So once I was in the process of separating from the military and was looking at all my options, do I want to be a therapist? Do I want to do HR? And I didn't know what HR was. I just knew in the Air Force, they called it personnel, and I knew what that entailed.
Yeah.
And then I realized that there's this whole field of HR. But really HR is, every company needs it. They have it, whether they actively take care of it or not is another thing. But every organization has that, because an organization, I think, is its people. And if you don't have good people and you're not taking care of your people right, you're going to lose them. So I feel like it's just a key component. But I love working with people and talking to people, and my psychology degree helps a lot with that. And so I really feel like that it was sort of meant to be, but I just didn't know it at the time. So sometimes we kind of have to look back on decisions that are made for us and go, wow, that really put me where I needed to be.
It happened for you, not to you.
Right. Life happens for you, not to you.
Love it.
So why is I understand that you like working with people and helping businesses working with people and taking care of their people, but what does that look like specifically?
How would someone work with you? What does that look like?
Sort of a day in the life. So our business started out, at first it was just me for a couple of years, and I would basically have little boxes, and I would travel to different employers, and I was looking for companies that were too small to have their own HR department. So they had employees and they had employee issues, but they really didn't have enough people to have a full-time HR need. And so I would go in, for 10 hours a week or 15 hours a week and help them with their HR, their policies, their procedures, their compliance, taking care of their people, all of those kinds of things. And then it got to the point that we grew, and now we have 5 employees. actually 6 soon. And we help out with those small employers and those startups that are just trying to figure out, what do I need to do to hire my first employee? We help businesses when they're about to hit that magic threshold of 50 employees and they have additional compliance things they have to take care of. And then we also help out larger organizations with their strategy. So we kind of get to do more of it now that we have a team and we're able to kind of cover all the facets of it. So every day can really be different. So we help some clients out with onboarding their employees. We'll help out with recruiting. We help out with compensation plans, evaluations, strategy. So it really, it's kind of all gamuts of it. So it's as diverse a field as HR is. I think our day is even more diverse because of the different sizes of organizations, the different types of organizations, and really just the different types of projects we do. Some of our clients, we are with them every month. We have so many hours we spend with them in a part-time HR manager capacity. And others, it might just be updating their handbook, and then it's a one and done kind of thing. So really any ability that we have to touch on an organization, we just take full advantage of it and make our best impact that we can.
Okay. So you started working with companies, like small companies, to help support their, to basically be their HR department. When you first started venturing out on your own with those boxes, what did that feel like for you?
It was really scary because I had been a civil servant in a sense. I mean, I had worked for the military. Then after that, I was the personnel manager at the police department. So everything I had done was like, okay, you get a salary and you got a role. And I never, ever thought that I would be an entrepreneur, that I would be a business owner. But it was just that time in life. We had just moved. And really right before we moved, I had landed my dream job. I took 4 years off to raise my kids, or not to raise them, but to get them started. And when my youngest started pre-kindergarten is when I started my company. But I had just gone back to a full-time HR manager role that I absolutely loved in Sacramento, when my husband goes, guess what, we're moving 8 months later. And so then I had to kind of rip it all apart and start all over again. And so I had a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. And so, well, what am I going to do? So I did some research. I took about a year or so, talked to people, went to training classes, learned about what it would be to start a business. And so when my youngest started pre-kindergarten, that's the day I went and got my business license, got my PO box, and joined the Chamber of Commerce. So and then I said, okay, that's it. Then I went around to every networking thing that you can imagine and just said, I'm, Rocket City HR, and we're here to help out you with your HR issues. And so from that, it just kind of grew. It took some time, but then the snowball effect just happened. And those seeds that were planted just started popping up and popping up and popping up, to the point that eventually I had to hire help because I couldn't do it all. So.
Right. And isn't that such a blessing when you get to the point where you're like, okay, I'm overwhelmed with this, but I have the opportunity to bring someone else on board and then and help support you and lighten the load a little bit. I think that's a huge, huge blessing. Having B as our producer now, it's been about a month or so that she's been helping us with our production. And, that really, really helped us and lightened the load for us, because we were spread too thin, right? You get to the point where you're spread too thin and you can't do anything well because you can't focus on anything well enough.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
And
in addition to running your HR business, you are also serving the community of women in business as well. Could you tell us a little bit about what you're doing in that regards?
Sure. This year, I'm the president of the North Alabama Women's Economic Development Council, and I'm very bummed that my children have COVID and I will not be able to kick off the year. We have a meeting tomorrow at lunchtime that I unfortunately won't be able to attend in person. So I will be recording a couple of videos and having our trusty team support us in that endeavor. But, you just got to roll the punches. We've all learned to pivot as women and business owners and mothers and all those things. We just kind of learned, you just got to take what you got and figure out how to make it work. So, but this organization is phenomenal. We have about 170 members. And the organization really supports women in leadership
Mhm.
and development and mentorship. So we have, and I forgot, it's been a couple of years since we've done it, but they gave a number of the percentage of women in this group that are serving on boards. And the number was just phenomenal. So this organization started back in 1996 or 7, I believe. And it started with just a couple of women, and they were seeing that there was a lack of women in boards and real leadership roles in the community. And they decided they were going to change that. And so this organization has just grown and continued to grow and develop. We actually have a sister organization we spun off a few years ago called the WEDC Foundation. And there we actually that organization gives scholarships to college women and to help them get on the path of success. And so we just do a lot of great things with the community.
That's really amazing. We here at the Women in Leadership Body, Mind, Soul, and Business podcast like to have a cause of the quarter, and we adopted Now Networking. It's a local networking group that is focused on
Nonprofit.
It's a nonprofit that's focusing on mentoring and scholarships for women, young women that have had disadvantages in life. And then it just helps follow them and mentor them through. And I think that it's still at a point of growth where we're not sure like how it's all going to come around. We're hoping, they're hoping that, the men, they'll become mentors in the future, so it's still a baby kind of organization. So I love that it's in more than one place, right?
Right.
This
So
is
in Huntsville,
amazing.
Alabama, you have the Economic Women's, can you say that name again? Council?
Women's Economic Development Council.
Yes.
How
And then
cool.
here locally, we have the Now Networking for those women who have faced adversity, and being able to wrap our arms around other women and support them in a way that is helpful and meaningful to them, I think is super, super important. So thank you so much for reaching out in your own community to love and support other women with that wonderful council you're a part of. I think that's amazing.
There's one more thing I would love it if you would touch on for us, Samantha. You wrote a book.
Sure.
And I wondered if you would tell us a little bit about your book, because I think that would be really valuable for both of our communities, definitely, to hear a little bit more about your book.
I think the book you're talking about from our conversation, it wasn't one that I wrote.
Okay.
It was written by Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith.
Okay.
And she's a physician from the Birmingham, Alabama area. And she wrote a book called Sacred Rest. And I got permission from her, and we have done presentations on sacred rest. So we've given presentations on how people can incorporate rest into their life. And most people think of rest as just sleep. And she identifies 7 different types of rest. We've got spiritual, cognitive, sensory. There's just a variety, emotional, variety of different types of rest that people need in order to be fully charged and energized. And so we just thought that was a great way for us to help other people. It can be businesses, or I've done this presentation for human resource organizations, so people know how they can help their employees and also help themselves to recognize when there's an area of their life where they may actually need to take some rest and rejuvenate.
Oh, I love that. We, as women especially, we're like, so like, go, 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 go. We have so many hats we have to wear. And, we have,
I think we do get caught up into, well, I got my sleep. Like, why am I not okay? And we talk about all the different areas of self-care a lot. But I think applying rest to it and calming the vertices. Is that
Britties. Yeah. The stuff, like your stuff, right? That's going on. We always have so much on our minds and so much on our shoulders, and being able to take a minute to rest, to clear our heads, to, get that social, emotional, physical, all those different types of rest, I think is super important. And so learning how to do that for yourself should be part of your self-care routine, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that you offer that as part of what you're doing with your work too, because it's not just the numbers and there's more to having people in your organization than just paperwork and, being, what am I trying to say? Compliant with, the laws, right? Like there, you still need to have compassion and, there's like so much more to it.
Right. Yeah.
And I think COVID kind of made that a bigger issue than it had been, because in a sense, we had people that were able to work from home for a while, and we're going, oh, well, that should be better because now their work-life balance is better. They're able to be at home. But the reality is, and I was one of them, you get up in the morning, you get on the computer and you take a break for lunch, you take a break for dinner, and then you go to bed at 11. You realize you've been on the computer basically all day, and you're doing more work than you had when you were just going to the office from 8 to 5. And so I think realizing, and there's a lot of stress that was being put on people financially and with families and people being ill. And so I think, I feel like businesses right now are wanting to take better care of the emotional and psychological and mental health of their employees, because that is something we've seen, just burnout. And what are the signs of burnout? And those are some of the indications that, yes, you need rest, and you need mental rest, and you need social rest. And social rest might not mean going into a dark room by yourself. I mean, it can for some people, but if you're an extrovert, it means going out with your friends and with people and being around the people that recharge you. But during COVID, we weren't able to do that so much. So all you could just do is kind of talk to somebody on the phone or look at them through the screen. And it gets weird. Our relationships, I feel like our mental psyche as a nation was affected because we weren't really able to reach out and hug each other and really see each other face to face like we had been doing. And it seems like Januaries are bad because we're finding that again as everybody's back in school and, all the COVID numbers are up again. So I guess we just have to, as a group, recognize that there are going to be times we're going to have to step back into these virtual scenarios, but hopefully as soon as we can, be able to be back in person, face to face with each other.
Right. I can't wait to hug people again.
Right.
Right. And I think that is so
I have goosebumps when you
needed.
said that, because I guess when I come over here and they give me hugs, I'm like, this is so nice. A hug. Who knew like that I would miss hugs so well. I knew. Anybody that knows me know I'm a hugger, and that's hard. Like that's the one thing we shouldn't be doing, right? Is going up and just hugging people right now.
Right. And so many people need that physical touch, that is, and that social, one-on-one, or even in a group, that social.
When I was in massage school, we actually read a book called Touch Starvation in America. It's an actual thing, already before all of this, years and years before, we already weren't getting enough physical contact in a positive way. We weren't doing those things that would help ourselves. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay, a couple more things.
If somebody wants to get a hold of you,
do you have any? Well, yeah, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, what is the best way for them to do that? We have all your links in the comments below, but is there a number one way, this is the best, or this is just how you get a hold of me is with these links?
If you go to rocketcityhr.com, we have a little contact sheet. So just submit that and I'll see it in my email right away.
Oh, perfect.
And you work with businesses virtually, is that correct?
Some virtual and some face-to-face.
Okay.
We have clients throughout the entire United States because we're nationally certified. And this town in particular, and if you aren't familiar with Huntsville, Alabama, because I know I wasn't when I was in Sacramento, I had no idea what it was. It's the place where they have Space Camp. And this is the place with the Saturn V rocket that got us up to the moon. And this area is full of NASA, Army, aerospace. I mean, it's very
really
technical.
Intelligent people.
But there's also a huge manufacturing component here. We have Mazda, Toyota, we Polaris, we have several other organizations. So it's not just aerospace and defense anymore. There's a lot of manufacturing going on too. There's also a pretty big medical contingency for the population. So it's a really diverse workforce and a diverse culture. But that is why we're called Rocket City HRs, because Huntsville, Alabama is known as the Rocket City. Yeah.
And I love that. I love that. Do you have any upcoming events that you want to plug in?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. We're getting geared up to do some trainings for the year, but I think everybody seems to be kind of having a little bit of a slow start on that. So yeah, you guys were the first thing for the year.
So when you have those things come up, please feel free to share them with our community. Just reach out and just share that stuff away, because part of what we're doing is building a community, building a bank of resources that the community can go to to fill a need that they have. So this is an ongoing conversation. This is an ongoing relationship, and we want to be able to have that give and take. So let us know if there's any way that we can support you also.
That sounds great. Yes, we will definitely be doing trainings coming up in the next couple months. We just don't have them on the calendar yet.
Awesome. Well, let us know when those come up. We have a new meditation today. If you guys are driving and you would like to partake in the meditation, please pull over safely, right? And we're going to take a few deep breaths. You can sit or lay down, whatever's comfortable for you. A body position where you're awake and alert. Feet on the ground. Both feet on the ground.
Or both feet crossed. Be balanced in how you're sitting.
Today we are on day 20 of Meditations from the Mat by Rolf Gates and Katrina Kensington. Free from all thoughts of I and mine, that man finds utter peace. Bhagavad Gita. As we begin to live the yamas and niyamas, we make a joyful discovery. Having anticipated an onerous set of challenges and the not too distant prospect of failure, we arrive instead at an ancient truth, that to live according to these precepts is actually a relief. We realize that in fact these restraints and observances are in keeping with our own nature. We humans are meant to live in harmony, and the yamas and niyamas are simply a means to foster internal and external balance in our lives. After writing an essay about ahimsa, I went to my local Whole Foods store. I'm a daily customer, and many of my students shop there as well. So I usually spend a good deal of time chatting with people I know. With the notion of non-harming so fresh in my mind, though, I found myself talking to people in the checkout line I didn't know. The impulse to reach out came from the spiritual injunction at the heart of ahimsa, that we should not draw lines around ourselves, and that we should see all beings as our brothers and sisters. To my surprise that morning, I discovered that I enjoyed talking to strangers at least as much as I enjoyed talking to my friends and students. Upon reflection, I realized that it was my own fear of rejection and my fear of others' judgment of me that had held me back from making this a regular practice. Many times I had experienced the joy and magic of connecting to strangers, but creating such connections had not become a habit because of my own fear. As I've come to understand the true meaning of ahimsa, I've also found more connection with my world. With relief, I've begun to let go of my fear of other people. My fear of strangers has been an aspect of suffering in my life, and this yama challenges me to get over it. Our suffering is a reflection of imbalance and delusion. The yamas and niyamas bring us out of delusion into clarity and balance, and with balance comes utter peace and the joy we seek. Take a couple more breaths. Let that sink in a little bit. I'm going to read that last part again. Our suffering is a reflection of imbalance and delusion. The yamas and niyamas bring us out of delusion into clarity and balance. And with balance comes utter peace and the joy we seek. I find it really interesting that this whole meditation today talks about basically relationships with people. We're talking to an HR person. So it's like magical mystery, right? I love how our reading somehow serendipitous, I can say that word, just magically.
I heard if you say it really fast, people
talking
won't
to.
know you don't know how to say it. I heard someone do that on the Zoom the other day. I was like, that's funny.
Like,
If I say it really fast,
Say it
you'll
with
think I know.
confidence, right?
Yeah, right.
So serendipity. So it's just awesome that we're talking about human connection and the connection with other people.
And quieting the mind this week. That's what we've been talking about. Just bringing things to calm into the heart so that you can get in past the noise. And it all just is coming together. Once again, I love the alignment. That's the word that comes to mind for me, is alignment.
Your thoughts, Samantha?
As you were saying that, it made me think about the connections that we were talking about earlier. And for the WEDC this year, our theme is partnering with a purpose. And so we're going to be involving in other business organizations, but mainly a lot of the nonprofits in the community, and having them come to our meetings and featuring them and finding out what they have going on. And I think this coming month, we're going to have the Greater Huntsville Humane Society talking about their dog ball, which is a really fun event. I have 2 golden doodles, and both of my dogs have been very important dogs at their event. And it's a big fundraiser they have to help out the Humane Society. And they fill up a big room at the Von Braun Center, and they have a big walkway in the middle of the room. And you pay to show your dog, but you walk your dog in the middle of down the runway.
Like a little fashion show.
A little fashion show. Yeah. So, yeah. And so I think this year's theme has to do with Mardi Gras. I think it's Party Gras, but every year they have a theme. That one year, one of my dogs was bad to the bone. So I had a black leather jacket on, and she had a big, studded collar, and we did kind of a biker chic theme. So she had a little pink tutu with black on it. And it was just a lot of fun. But every year they raise a ton of money for that organization. During that one event, they have a huge sit down dinner. They have a silent auction, and it's just a really fun time. And they do that every February. So it's just kind of neat to see the things that are going on in the community and how we can all be a part of it.
I believe Saturday is National Dress Up Your Dog Day. So we definitely want to see some pictures come right? Saturday of the dogs dressed up.
I can get them in here if you want.
We had to leave ours in the house, and my little gal's at home. She's like, what? I can't go with you today.
I have 3 dogs myself. One is a pit boxer mix, and the other 2 are Norwegian elk hounds. So right now, they're shedding like crazy, but
oh no,
yeah, they're in the house. It's fine. And they just love to hang out with us while we work. And her little dog, I have these like bigger dogs, and then she's got this little dog.
She likes to perch up on the chair, like once she calms down, like she'll perch up here like a cat would. Like, I love her.
Yeah, our mini doodle thinks she's a cat too. So yeah, she likes to sit on the couch and look out the window. Yeah.
One of our local businesses, the AK Clips, she has this little
AK Clippers and Cheers,
little tiny dog, and he has a little window seat that's like sectioned to the window, so he can sit up there and watch people while she's working. It's so cute. I was like, all of a sudden I was sitting there one day talking with her, like, That is for the dog. I love that. I was looking for the cat. I kept looking and I'm like,
There's no
oh,
cat. It's just for
the
Jasper.
dog.
Or Dexter.
Dexter, I think.
Dexter, I think is his name.
So
Anyway,
cute.
he's so cute.
Okay.
We have some upcoming events. Our weekly reading now drops on Sundays on our YouTube channel. Instead of reading the whole chapter from the Yoga Sutras, we just kind of, that's like our theme for the week. And this week is this week Fricky? I think this week was Fricky, which is like the heart mind stuff.
Yeah, we've been talking about it.
Yeah. So activity in the heart mind. Wisdom arrives inside the circle. Affairs are left outside the gate. Ooh, that's powerful. That's from Zen Master Hongzhi, right? And then some of the thoughts that we have this week is the activity on the surface of the heart mind can conceal our inner light of awareness. Practicing yoga includes doing everything I can to cultivate a calm and stable heart mind. And reducing distractions and harmful thoughts by practicing meditation regularly, even if it is only for a few minutes a day. Bringing that calm and clarity and that rest to your mind, right? And when you can rest your mind, a lot of times you can rest other things too. Some exercises for this week is think of a time when a preconceived notion has caused you to judge someone unfairly, possibly based on a stereotype. How can you prevent this from happening again? I think we've all experienced, judgment from others, and, we tend to
And
we're
accidentally done
humans,
it to
right?
other people, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and that can happen. I'm feeling led to say something about like, if someone of power is putting a judgment on you. And I think for women, a lot of times that is our doctors. And I'm not sure why I'm feeling led to say this, but you need to speak up for yourself if your doctor is not speaking to you in a professional and ethical manner.
Mm-hmm.
If you are going in and being prejudged because of your weight or your size or your inability or ability to do something, don't let that be the barrier. Make them see you. And if you have questions on that, I would love to take that conversation deeper.
Right.
Whoever needs that, if they need to reach out to me, go for it, because I have a lot of experience in that with my weight loss journey, when working with like my son and medications and things and different ways that people perceive
Different things.
Yeah.
And I'm actually having a little bit of an experience currently with that, but with one of my kids who has a disability, we're having issues trying to convince the doctor that this thing that we feel would enable them to more freedom is actually going to enable them more freedom. So if you need to advocate for yourself and for your own health and mental well-being, no matter who you're talking to, that doctor might have, the degree and the knowledge, but they don't know you and your body and your heart
Right.
intimately like you do. So advocate for yourself. Another practice is to sit quietly in meditation and observe how thoughts and emotions distract your attention from the point of focus. Right? And we did that little practice during our chat when we talked about the whole chapter. And you can simply just focus on the breath for a few minutes, right? Breathe in, count to 4, breathe out, count to 5, just nice, big, deep breaths, find your numbers, find your pace. Is there anything that you do that helps you come and sit and clear your mind? Samantha? Oh, there you are.
Yeah, sorry, some reason the connection wasn't great there for a minute. I do some meditation, but one thing I do, at least I find when my mind is racing and I can't sleep at night, and this is something I learned back in college, but it's just to visualize that you have an envelope in your hand and you're just going to put all those things that come to your mind in the envelope. And then you're just going to seal it and put it under your pillow and just know that in the morning when you wake up, it will be there and you can deal with it. And because otherwise you're trying to sleep at night and you can't because you have all these things that are just crowding your head and you just can't, you don't want to forget about something. Well, you're not, it's in your head. You just need to not ruminate on it. And sometimes if you kind of put it aside that way, giving yourself kind of a visual imagery that you're tucking it aside and putting it away, when you go to open it up the next day visually or mentally, then there may be additional insights that because you weren't actively thinking about it actually kind of came in to help you work on those. So your brain does a lot of great stuff when you're sleeping. And so you really need to sleep so it can do the repairing and coming up with ideas and the creativity. So it's just kind of like if you're having you're stuck in a mental rut and you go for a walk or you do something. So sometimes taking your attention off of it helps you. And all of a sudden what you're looking for just pops in your mind or you have, that great inspiration.
Right. And that leads us right into the last exercise this week is to try and separate the detrimental thoughts and emotions from the helpful ones, and then investigate where the negative ones come from. Right.
Our hope is to, eventually work through them so that they're not constantly coming up. Right.
Right.
So we don't want to constantly be fighting that self-doubt, constantly be, we're going to work through, like, why does that keep coming up for me?
Yeah, where is that coming from? Why does that keep coming up? And a lot of times in meditation or that's when our brains aren't trying so hard is when we have the best ideas, epiphanies, realizations, whatever the case may be. So rest, super, super, super important. I'm adding that word to our board, rest. We have
quiet and we have focus.
Yeah.
We're close.
We're close
with that.
Okay, so our weekly reading will be posted on Sundays on our YouTube channel. We'll talk about it on Mondays on our Facebook page. So come join the conversation there. Next week, we are adding a third weekly podcast, you guys. We are going to do a Tuesday afternoons, 4 p.m. Pacific.
Afternoon, evening episode. We have a really special first guest, and she is working the main job, hoping to get her side hustle, her main hustle, and I love what she does. So I'm really excited that we're opening up a different time slot. So to see how it's reach more people, connect with more women in leadership, and very, very, very excited about this.
Yeah, all of the feedback that we've been getting actually has been helping us grow and become better at what we do. We are on episode 28 today.
I don't know. We're on season 2,
episode 3. So and we're super excited about where 2022 is going to take us. We are going to be, again, the Women Empowering Women Business E-Summit this summer. We're going to focus on creativity. So I'll be looking forward to that. This year for me is a year of abundance and joy.
Very excited.
Yeah. And for you, your words this year are heirloom and legend. Samantha, do you have a couple words for the year? Or do you have?
I haven't come up with any yet. I'm right now I'm reading I don't know if you can see it, The Magic of Thinking Big.
Ooh,
so it's by David Schwartz. And you were talking about pushing away those negative thoughts. And really it's interesting because I'm just getting into it, but it's really about those positive thoughts and thinking, and people that are focused on success will be successful. And if you're focused on negativity and not being successful, you won't be successful. And so I feel like I have not come up with my words yet, but I think I will probably have them in the next couple of days. But I'm really just focusing on trying to give back more to the community, trying to listen more, and just making sure that all of my relationships are fulfilled in my life. And so, I feel like I'm constantly juggling so many things. I just need to make sure that I kind of step back and enjoy each thing that I'm doing and each person that I'm with. So I'm really just trying to make space in my life and opening up to being more genuine. And I feel like instead of having to have the little blinders on and like, okay, I'm going to put on this perfect facade, just being able to be real with people and know that they're going to be there for me.
I'm definitely hearing balance and focus. Because that was what Rayanne was talking about. She wants to focus on like who's in front of her. Like, am I with a client? Am I with my kids? I want to be focused on who's with me. Like, oh, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Be present.
It's being present. Exactly. Yes.
Exactly. So we're really excited about 2022. And our calendar is actually filling up pretty fast. We're so excited. We have most of the next 3 months already booked out, you guys. And make sure you like and follow us on social media for all the latest information, updates, upcoming events. You don't want to miss it.
You don't.
Right? And then let's see here. We've talked about our cause of the quarter, now networking. Go check them out. And I would like to Heather's been on a journey, and she's got some things
so
to
today I would like to talk about hibiscus. The Taka hibiscus that I use as a drink mix. It goes in, I just put it in water. I actually mixed 2 different takas in here and gave it a really good shake. And then I'll drink half of it in the morning and then the other half in the afternoon, since I mixed 2 together because I like to mix the flavors. But the regular type hibiscus is a natural occurring form of energy. I got my little notes here. I don't have it all memorized. It helps curb cravings for sugar. It reduces and balances glucose levels. Wow. On here, it says lowers glucose by up to 12%, helps prevent calcium crystals, which turn into kidney stones, because a lot of energy drinks will have that kind of stuff in it. It makes that happen for you. It lowers systolic blood pressure, maintains healthy cholesterol and triglycerides, and promotes production of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. It's actually a natural thing that you get in your brain, but it like helps feed that. And it also helps with digestive discomfort and immune support, because it helps heal the lining in your tummy and all sorts of good stuff. So when you're doing that, then you're boosting your own immune system, which is really cool. So that is why we are taking the hibiscus. It's pretty cool. Yeah. I've lost 170 pounds on this journey, and I'm looking to lose at least another 50 pounds and
see how that feels.
Because it's so bizarre to me. So
right?
Yeah. And this new level of healthy has been absolutely amazing. Like, I'm getting stronger. I was able to like do my own laundry, and I carried almost all of it by myself. Like, that was a huge feat.
Skin looks beautiful.
Right? Yeah, it's so healthy. Like, in general, like, I'm so impressed with like how my body is healed. In September, I had a major abdominal surgery. I had 5 inches of my intestines removed, and I had hernias for about 16 years, and they are all fixed, and we're almost done with the healing process from all of that. So super exciting to be getting stronger and
more vibrant by the day.
Right?
And
more vibrant. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I have more energy to come into the world, which is exciting and a little scary because I have a lot of energy. So here we go.
Stepping into something new and different is always a little scary.
Right.
And it doesn't really matter what that is. So if you would like some support on stepping out into something new and scary for you, reach out. We'd love to support you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't just have to be health. We like to help people with all goals.
Whatever they need.
That sounds good. We had already talked about podcasts, so I'm going to be picking your brain on that because that's the next thing on my list to do too.
Excellent.
We'll set up another appointment and to talk about that.
Great. Thank you.
Let's see here. I'd like to thank our special guest, Samantha Brinkley from Rocket City HR, for joining us today. And thank you for listening and watching to the Women in Leadership, Body, Mind, Soul, and Business podcast. Without you, this community would not be the same. We love you all. We support you all. Join us next time. Namaste.
We love you, B.